Questions back here? Yes.
I'm Chris DeHaan. Live here in Lebanon, and I think this question will go for all of you. I just want to know how you would stand in defense of our state and citizens against the overreach of the federal government, and in particular the 10th Amendment and nullification.
Okay, did everybody understand the question? How are you going to stand for the state of Missouri regarding the 10th Amendment on federal issues?
I'll answer that. I was the lady who filed, I'm the one who filed the original Healthcare Freedom Act. And then I filed the Firearms Freedom Act. And then I loved that so much, I filed the Light Bulb Freedom Act. And for those of you who aren't familiar with what that is, it just says if anything, light bulbs or firearms, if they're made in Missouri and used in Missouri, they are not subject to the Commerce Clause. It is not the federal government's business. And I also have been, in one of my newsletters recently, I wrote about what the problem going down at Lake of the Ozarks. And if any of you don't know, the federal government is coming in there and trying to tell them how much property they own, redesignate it. And Amber and Yui should be standing against the Federal Regulatory Commission, and they're not. And this is a problem because it's our lake, and it's our duty to stand for what we control and what we hold dear. And we have not had that kind of representation. You're going to be very impressed with. One thing I'll tell you that surprised me and disappointed me, when I was in the House of Representatives, I filed a state sovereignty resolution. And when I went around to get the co-sponsors to join me, who wants on, I thought this will be a no-brainer. Every single representative should want to sign this. I'm looking at 162 other representatives and wondering why nobody else wants on. Well, a few people did, but I even asked the Democrats, because I figured, look, if you're taking an oath to office, and your oath said you're going to protect and defend us, why wouldn't every state legislator want to draw a line in the sand against the federal government? But to my surprise, the Democrats primarily didn't like it because that's how they're getting their big government agenda passed, is with federal government foisting it on us. And then you've got the big government Republicans. So see, we're kind of in a minority, but not to make you feel bad. We are in trouble, but the more we speak, the more we win. We just have to tell people that there is an answer and there is a way. And the more we get the news out, the better it's going to be for all of us.
Best way to go about doing what we were asking for. The worst enemy we have in the state of Missouri is the Associated Press. They do not give equal time to any candidate. They pick and choose their candidate to put all these little messages in all the little newspapers, and you cannot take them to court because they don't even put their name on there. As of 2 days ago, they're starting to put their name on who's writing these articles because I told them I was going to take them to court. It's breaking the rules and regulations, and this is how they're getting by with it, Republican, Democrat, or otherwise. And it's got to come to a halt. The only way to come to a halt is if everybody that sits down contacts them, say, hey, stop this. This is not freedom of speech the way you're wanting to do freedom of speech. You're doing freedom of type. And that does not come underneath freedom of speech. When you're buying the article, that does not come under particulars of freedom of speech. If you write an editorial in any newspaper, you have to put your name on that editorial. The newspapers are not allowing this today. And this is what's killing our government. The government knows what they're getting by with by doing it this way. Thank you.
Okay, very good. We're going to pass right through here again, starting at the front. Any questions? Next row. All the way across. There you go.
If you would just review the names here so I make sure I have them in my head correct.
Okay, this is Leonard Steinman. He's running for governor. Cynthia Davis, she's running for lieutenant governor on the Constitution Party. And Greg Cowan, he's running for Vicky Hartzler's seat in the 4th District.
Probably keep straight in my mind.
Yes, I have trouble with it too. Yeah. Okay.
Bill, can I ask?
Yeah.
Thanks. My question is, there's been talk of instigating a nullification process in order to protect us from several federal regulations that are being imposed upon us. What is your role in this nullification process, and would you be willing to participate in it?
I think John C. Calhoun in the 1800s was the first one to begin that nullification concept or idea. I think the Constitution is quite clear. It is the supreme law of the land. The 10th Amendment protects us from the federal government's overreach. It's important that our representatives only govern within the boundaries of the Constitution. I don't think the nullification concept is going to get you anywhere. Okay? That's my opinion. We fought a civil war to prove otherwise, okay? And I just don't think it's going anywhere. I think we need to govern, and we need to elect people who will govern within the boundary of the Constitution.
If we had better results on November 6th, then we wouldn't have to have a discussion on nullification. But unfortunately, we have been betrayed by those we elected to represent our best interests. So I'm not afraid to do anything and everything legally within my power to make sure we're clarifying for the federal government that we're standing on our laws and our rules. And I'll tell you an example just to how bad it is. The states have not been fighting back. There's a principle called the squatter's law, and that means if somebody squats on your property for 7 years and you do nothing about it, though you could shoo him away, you let him have it, then he can claim that as his land. And that's what's going on with the states. The federal government's gotten bigger and bigger and bigger and taken more of our territory, and who's fighting back? So when I was in 7th grade, there was a girl who liked to trip me in the hallway every day, and she was a bully. And every day, I would go home and tell my mother about it. Now, my mother could do nothing to help me except pat me on my back and say, "There, I'm sorry." Well, after several months of this, she tripped me for the last time. I don't know exactly what happened, and I certainly don't want to be caught on tape as saying anything that could be construed as violent. But let me say, the only way to stand up to a bully and stop a bully is you've got to take it and say, "You can't do that anymore." So she tripped me, and the rest was a blur. I ended up going to the principal's office with the other young lady, and the principal called my mother, and my mother was never more proud. And the whole country is asking us, can you do anything to protect us? Because we're having our rights encroached upon. They're violating the 9th and 10th Amendment all the time, and we're letting them get away with it. Because nobody's holding them to the standard, the constitutional standard of what's my part, what's your part. We're drawing a line, and you don't touch our part anymore.
I'll answer real easy. I went through many at grade school. I weighed about 85 pounds. When I graduated from high school, I weighed 101 pounds. What's the first thing you got to do when you go to a new school? You find the biggest bully. You say, "Come here, bully. We're going to get it over today." Guess what happens the next day? The principal knows who you are when you walk down the hallway, and he's scared that you're going to hit him. The problems we have today in our state more than anything is our children. Not kids. They're not billy goats. They're children. When we start putting SOR officers in these schools, the only reason why they're putting them SOR officers in there is because they don't want you to realize that they're not learning anything but how to take a test with a cell phone so they can go get the answers. They don't know the answers until they contact on the cell phone. Go to McDonald's and have electricity go out. When you go to McDonald's, electricity goes out, you can't get no change, you can't get no hamburger because nobody knows how to figure out 15 cents. As parents, grandparents, great-grandparents, please, this is the only way we're going to educate our children, is to sit down and take them home and educate them, because our educators are not educators. Because when I was in school as a senior in high school, because I went through so many schools when I was a child, I didn't learn the English language. This is why I'm running for governor. Yes, today I still don't know the English language, but I married it. My wife writes all the paperwork for the Secretary of State's office. It goes all over the world. She's my English. So that's delegation, and that's what a governor needs to know how to do. That's why I go to all these meetings to listen to everybody, so that if I get into office as governor, I'm going to interview everybody that did not make it. And I'm going to offer them a position because I know what their heart set is, I know what their feelings are, and it's not party picked, it's hand picked. And if they don't do the job that's supposed to be done, then it's my problem. I'm going to take the responsibility. That's what we got to have, responsibility. When I get up here to speak, I don't cream coat it. I'm not endorsed by anybody. The reason why I'm not endorsed by anybody is because I tell them exactly what I hear and see all over the nation. I've lived all over the nation. I've been all over the nation. And I did run, I think, against Mr. Young last year. What's your name? Talent. Mr. Talent. I ran against, there were 18 people running for U.S. Congress at that time. It's hard to remember all their names. But I get rid of it.
We're running a little bit
Thank
late.
you.